Late 1990s, my mother and I, we talked about once a week on the phone. She was living alone in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was traveling all over the world, and I'd try to call her every Sunday just to check in with her and, see what was happening in her world. And one day I called her Sunday afternoon and I asked, how are things going? And she said, I'm okay, but she says, I'm concerned about my dog. Well, my mom's dog, next to her two sons, myself and my younger brother, her dog was like the third son that she never had. Her dog's name was Corey Sue. Corey Sue was a little terrier, and Mom loved this dog so much, and they were constant companions. So this dog was with my mom almost 24/7. I said to my mom, what's happening with your dog? What's happening with Corey Sue? She said, I took her to the vet. She was a little lethargic. She was sleeping all the time. Thought maybe something was wrong, and the vet x-rayed her, and she has black spots all over her lungs. She said, I'm very concerned about that. What do you think about that? So I said, of course, I'm concerned about Corey Sue. But I said, in my world, the vehicles that we share our time with, the homes that we share our time with, the animals and other people that we share our time with, they often will reflect in themselves the conditions that often happen before they ever show up within our bodies. So I said, how are you, Mom? What's happening with you? She said, I went to have a physical and everything checked out fine. I said, did you have an x-ray of your lungs? She said, that's the one part of the physical that I put off. She said, I'm going to go back and do that later. And I said, well, why are you going to wait? She said, well, I'm going to wait until I get the house painted, until I get the yard done, until I get the flowers planted, until I get the new sod put in, until I get some work done in the car. And I said, Mom, you're procrastinating. Just have it done. And I called her the next week. I said, Mom, did you get your x-ray? And she said, no. I said, Mom, go have the x-ray. She went and had the x-ray, and lo and behold, the x-ray showed a spot on her lung that was a cancerous spot. She had had TB as a child. The TB had healed, developed a scar tissue around the TB, and now at her age, that scar tissue had become cancerous. So I went with Mom through a whole process of finding doctors and finding the hospital, and she opted to have the surgery to have this cancerous place removed, and in doing so ended up losing 2/3 of her left lung. Here's why I'm sharing this story. After her recovery, and Mom did recover 100%, and she was cancer-free. She's cancer-free to this day. I asked her, what's happening with Corey Sue? And she said, you're not going to believe this. I said, try me. She said, I took her back to the vet and had the x-rays done, and all the black spots in her lungs have disappeared. They're not there any longer. And I said, I'm in awe when I hear it, but I'm not surprised, because there's a very good possibility that your dog unconditionally loves so deeply, without the expectations, without the judgments, without the good or the bad or the right or the wrong. Our animals simply reflect the field of energy that is the field that we are creating. They reflect it in their lives. And if we know that, then we were often given the opportunity to receive messages from them about what's happening in our lives. And if we don't know that, I've had friends that have had to keep getting new pets because they say the old pets, they always get sick. They say, my pets get sick all the time. I need a new one. I need a good one. When in truth, those pets may be unconditionally reflecting to the owner, my friends in this case, the conditions that have yet to show up in the owner's body, but are there in the energetic field in the divine matrix. So this is an example of how our relationship to this field can show up in very common ways every day in our lives, in ways that we may discount. But as we gain the wisdom to recognize this deeper relationship we have with the matrix, then the matrix begins to tell us about where we are in our lives, about the quality of the choices that we make. It begins to inform us so that we can become wiser in the choices that we're making. And this is especially true when it comes to our personal relationships. The most intimate relationships that we have in our lives is where we find the deepest hurt, the deepest pain, and the greatest joy and the greatest ecstasy. This is where the matrix is going to show us our deepest, sometimes unconscious beliefs. And this is what I want to talk to you about right now.